This is Susan Wilbanks with blendedinsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic. Hello, bright soul. Thank you for joining me on another podcast. I want to start out by saying thank you so much for your genuine compliments and your kindness and just your authenticity. I can feel it, I receive it, and I send it all back. I couldn't be more grateful, honestly. We're just strangers on the internet, and I think about this often where oftentimes we just organically find one another. We're strangers, but we have a connection. We have a soul connection. We're part of a soul family. We have common interests and we have a bond. And it's amazing how that happens. And so I just really appreciate you showing up and connecting every week. And with that said, I would like to go in to my topic for today. And I am pretty sure you or people you know are expressing that the energy is it's been intense. It's been intense for over a year. And it's the shock of the division that's occurring. And everyone that I know and love and talk to has shared how they just aren't in alignment with people the way that they were before. And there's a lot of shifting and changing. And so if that's you, this is the podcast for you, because I've also experienced that. And we're all in one fishbowl, whether we realize it or accept it or not. So we are really part of the collective. And there's a lot of shifting going on in the cosmos, in the world. And so if you are one of those people that feels like you're losing friends, you are no longer in alignment with even family members that you were once close with, if you have the unpopular opinion, if you're tired of the toxicity and the angry and the backbiting and the viciousness, I'm raising my hand. I've got the same thing going on. So I want to share with you what I've been doing to keep myself grounded and sane and offer some things that I've learned along the way that really help with this. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is losing friends. So here's what's happened with me over the past year or so is that as the tides shift, and I don't know if you've noticed this in your own life, but through this whole pandemic and, or plandemic or whatever it is that you choose to believe or what you think or what you resonate with, it doesn't matter to me. But through this whole thing, people have really grabbed strongly to one side. And it's politics too here in the United States. And it's whether or not you should wear the mask. That's another thing. It's whether or not you should get the shot in the arm. I don't like to say the word because we are being censored. So it's all of these things that are really personal choices. They should be personal choices and they're personal views. And what I've seen is that if another person doesn't agree with another person's view, they attack the other person, whether it's verbally or energetically. That's what I've watched occur. And I myself have gotten activated by this. So I've had to get really good at drawing it back in and saying, wait a minute, I am a being of light and I want to be in alignment with those who choose to also be in the light. And it's been very challenging during this time because I know that a lot of people who I was in alignment with, associates, I wouldn't say close friends, but more associates that I would interact with regularly. I noticed them just go onto a darker side. I'll just say that. So perhaps they were just engaging in more unhealthy behaviors or dark behaviors. And that's okay because I've been there in my journey before I was doing the work I'm doing now. I was a mess back in the day. I mean, truly a mess. And I had to find this journey and choose it on my own. And so some people are choosing to continue the journey and some aren't. And I've also noticed people who I consider dear friends, from long ago, decades really, turn vicious and mean and ugly. I'm not in alignment with that anymore. I don't want to be a part of it. And so what I have done is just be really kind, but distance myself. And so I want to talk about this because I know I've had this conversation with a lot of people about they are personally being verbally attacked or bullied or maybe it's through text message, or it could be in person. A lot of us aren't really in person that much anymore. It could be, on social media where you express an opinion or a view, and then someone jumps on you and starts berating you for your view. This is happening so much. So I want to tell you from an energetic perspective, and I'm so grateful for the tools that I have, because I can look at people who are doing that and they're so miserably angry and unhappy in themselves. I'll be honest with you, I don't know a single one who actually has a spiritual practice or an energy healing practice where they're cleaning themselves and looking at themselves, because the only way we can grow is if we're open to being wrong, if we're open to shifting our views, our opinions, if we're open to seeing the other side. And the only way to do that is to let go of the ego. This is all ego. And even I used to have some really strong held beliefs. A year ago, I don't have those beliefs anymore. They completely shifted. And I thought, wow, thank you for removing that cloud from me, universe. I'm so grateful that I've stayed committed to this path and I continue to do this work, because I was wrong. And here's the thing. We have the right to change our mind. We can be wrong at any time. It's the way that we express ourselves. That's the difference. So I have, in my life right now, I have between 3 to 5 very close friends. I would consider close friends that we stay in contact daily, no less than weekly. So I have maybe a couple that I talk to every week. We do catch-ups. And then there's a few others that we talk every single day. And I have one family member that I am in alignment with. And that's it. I have a lot of associates. I have soul sisters. I have soul tribe. I have strangers on the internet who are really doing their very best to stay in the light, and they're truth seekers. So they're open to being wrong, and they want to actually go within and feel what feels right, what resonates with me. I'm not interested in other people's views or opinions at this time. I'm interested in finding the information for myself and then feeling into it. Does this feel right to me? And also, when you're doing your cleansing work and you're evolving, that could change for you. And so when I decided that I had a shift in my views, and my one family member had those views. I had some views that didn't agree with him. He had some views that didn't agree with me. It's funny because his views shifted to mine and mine shifted to his. So now we're completely in alignment. For a while there, we had some similar and not all. Now we've got like all the same beliefs, which was really interesting how that happened. But again, it's aligning in the fact that he is open and I am open. When we present facts, we're not ugly to each other. We don't call each other ugly names. We're not in emotion. We're not angry. We're open. So that is the difference, is being able to listen and say, tell me why you feel that way. Okay, I completely respect that. Thank you for sharing. I hadn't considered that before. Yeah, let me think about it. This is personally what I was feeling based on the independent research that I did. But you can feel the energy of someone, and allowing that person to hold their space and hold their opinion and being respectful and kind, and then focusing on commonalities, that's the key. So if you have someone who's coming at you for your view and trying to pick a fight with you, first thing that I've been doing, first of all, I won't engage it. I won't even answer it. It will just be ignored. If they ask me a question and I know that it's simply an invitation to argue, or they're looking for an occasion to be offended, I don't share that much, but I've watched this occur and I've had this experience previously. And I've had it happen a couple times over the past year where someone called me to ask me my view on something and then just blew up with emotion. And when someone is emotional, they're not logical. And I'm a very logical person. I can get emotionally activated too, but I tend to lean toward logic and facts. I'm a data analyst. I mean, I've been doing this for 25 years, so I'm not going to just believe what someone tells me. I want the actual source, and then I'm going to look at the source and see if that source is being funded by someone, or who is giving this information to them. I'm really good at drilling it down and saying, I want independent, non-biased sources of information. And if I can't get that, what I do is I go internally and I feel into the information to see how it resonates with me. The other thing I can do is scan people to see if they're in integrity, because I know energy healing. So I can look at their integrity and say, I don't think so, partner. I'm not listening to you. You have no spiritual energy coming in through that crown, so we're not in alignment. So I'm thankful for being able to actually choose and navigate, but be kind at the same time. So there was one person that I was associates with who started doing this, all of a sudden just doing this strange, these, I don't know, retreats or something. And, I'm not even going to get into it. But anyway, I won't even say friends. I was more of a friend to this person than they were to me. And I know a lot of you can relate to that. So I was the person that she always came to when she needed something or advice or wanted a reading or healing or wanted me to read, look at someone. But then when I need something, she's got nothing to offer. There's nothing there, right? Rarely. I won't say never, but I'd say 90% of the time there's not much to offer. And so I started noticing a shift there too, because all of a sudden that person looking for a way out was using these spiritual retreats as a way to shortcut your work. And you can't do that. And the spiritual retreats can certainly help to catapult you, but you still have to do base work. And the base work wasn't done. And then all of a sudden this person was copying me, and I thought, and I could feel it. It didn't feel good. And it would come up in my energy healing sessions that I do with someone. They'd say, there's someone very sticky and low vibrational that's like courting you. And I would know instantly who it was. And I'm like, I wonder why that person is doing that. I don't want any part of that. I don't agree with the methods that the person is doing, because I can see the low energies. I can see, I'm clairvoyant and I can do energy healing. And I'm just like, this is such a dark energy. I just don't want any part of it. It would slime me. Every time she would try to interact with me, it would slime me. And I just decided this isn't alignment anymore. And I want her to do well, and I want her to be happy and healthy. And I want her to, if she wants to do spiritual service for other people, that's her karma, that's her path. I completely respect that. I just don't want to be a part of it. And I don't want to be associated with it because I don't endorse it. And that's what it started feeling like she was trying to get my endorsement. And then I don't know if you ever had this happen to you where you can feel someone's envy energy. She started poking fun of my podcast, which I thought was really odd. And then copying what I do, trying to get the blueprint of what I do. And I thought, ew, I don't want anything to do with this. So I just energetically cut the cord. And then when the person would try to engage, I wouldn't be rude. I would just say, oh, cool. I would answer very kindly, but shortly, and just not engage. So, she was sending me things that she was doing, wanting my approval, but it came across very egotistically and ugly, and it would slime me every time. And so I just quit. I didn't respond to it anymore. I just quit. And so that's one of the things that you can do, because eventually, here's the thing, the darkness wants to be fed, and you're a light worker. It wants to be fed. So if you don't energize it, it doesn't get bigger. And so what people do is they try to poke the darkness in others to make it bigger. We don't need any more darkness right now. We need more light, more love, more clarity, more accurate perception. That's what we need. And so that's what I'm always seeking. And if I'm wrong, I can admit that I'm wrong, and I will apologize, and I will do my best to make it right. I'm not in the ego that way. So when it's battle of the egos, there really isn't any way to win with someone that way, because they aren't thinking from their heart center the way that you are. They don't have that divine connection flowing in at that time. They've pinched it off because they're in their ego. So instead of engaging in the darkness or trying to reason with someone who's in all emotion, I just don't touch it. Now, what if someone engages you directly? Because this is another thing that's been happening. So I have witnessed friends of mine share things that are important to them, and then someone jump on it and twist it and make it seem like it's something that it's not, and then argue. Here's the thing. You got to look at the person that's engaging. And if that person is committed to misunderstanding you, there's no reason for you don't have to explain yourself to anyone, especially not people on the internet. You don't have to explain yourself. You are entitled to your views. You are entitled to your path. And you are entitled to your own choices. If you stay neutral and you are kind, what other people have going on, if they're emotionally volatile, they're rude, they're engaging in darkness, that's what's going on with them. Remember, you've got to remember this. People that don't have a spiritual practice, a healthy outlet in this fishbowl of all of these energies floating around, they're exploding on the inside. I watch it happen. And the thing is, they're just going to have to explode and do what it is that they feel that's necessary for them to do on this path away from me. Because I'm not going to engage in it and I won't be a part of it. And so there's sometimes that you have to just disengage. So unfollow, delete, don't answer the calls, disengage. And then if they're trying to, if it's like just say, for example, someone you can't avoid, because we have those people. Like, for example, I have someone that vents about politics. I have another person that feels like everyone in the world is racist against them. And they're not. They have completely inaccurate perception. But it's because they're so angry. And oh, by the way, everything we see in someone else exists in us. That's the shadow. So I know a lot of it is projecting. So I watch it and I'm like, this is projecting like you wouldn't believe. I can see the energy. And so my response is, what can you do to change it? What can you do to change it? Blank, nothing. They have nothing. They're stewing in emotion, but it interrupts the pattern. The other thing is, this is something that Matt Kahn shared years ago. I saw him in person in Boulder, and there was a couple of things that he shared during that talk that I felt were really profound for those of us who are on the spiritual path. So when we were at the soul gathering, Matt was sharing that his assistant had said that someone was on his YouTube channel and heckling everything that he said and just being ugly and vicious. And he said, okay, my response is, I'm sorry for your pain. I'm sorry for your pain. I know that people that don't want to hear that and receive that, it kind of turns them back on themselves. Like, I'm sorry for your pain. The other thing that he shared was, thank you for showing me what my light has dissolved. Thank you for showing me what my light has dissolved. Because they're coming at you because it's like the darkness meeting the light that's going to explode it. So they're fighting. It's the ego. The ego is fighting. The ego wants to be right. That's the other thing I've heard over and over. This is wrong. That's right. There's levels of truth. Is there ever really truly black and white? I mean, I'm an analyst, so I'm taught, yes, everything's black and white. No, that's not true. There are levels of truth. And what's true for someone may not be true for another. And so I understand that there will be things that occur where we have to make a decision, yes or no. I understand that. But the way that people get so vicious about I'm right, you're wrong is sickening, actually. And it leaves no room for coming together. It leaves no room for resolving anything. It leaves no room for collaboration. It's I'm right, you're wrong. The other thing, I've just seen ugly name calling. And when I see that, that's what I think. Thank you for showing me what my light has resolved. Because that's what it's done. It dissolved it. It resolved it. That's what happened. The ego can't function in the presence of a light being because we aren't going to engage from that space. And there's no room for growth in that either. If you're in the ego and you're constantly offended and you're looking for a fight, and I see it like crazy, but remember, I'm just asking you, go within, have compassion on that person. Can you imagine what it's like to live with that person that does that? All day looks on the internet to find someone to be angry at, something to be angry at, someone to be angry with, and then lives their life that way. Geez, what a blessing it is that we can actually find our connection, come together with people who actually want to be loving, beneficial presence on the planet and live our lives and live our truths. It's truly a blessing to have stumbled upon like-minded individuals and tools to help us, really. So the other thing is, if someone asks you directly for your opinion on something and you already know they're looking for an occasion to fight or be offended, just say, I'd rather not say. I'd rather not say. I'd like to talk about something else. How is your day today? How's your family doing? How's your work doing? What's your workout schedule looking like? Are you meditating? What kind of spiritual practice are you doing here lately? What are you eating? What kind of diet are you on? What's your plans for the summer? Do you have any? I mean, just shift it. Just completely shift it. And so I really hope that helps. That's what I've been doing, and it helps. And probably the best thing that I've done that's helped me the most is honestly just completely disengaging from individuals that I know are not in line. They're not in alignment with me. And the more that I do that, the more freer I become and the more energy I have. And I feel so much more grounded in my higher self and in my purpose. And the beautiful thing is that I'm then connecting more strongly to people who are in alignment with that next step. And I know it's painful when you feel like you've had relationships with people for decades and years, and you miss the old relationship. You miss the old aspects of that person that's not there anymore. I know how that feels. It's sad, but the thing is, everything has to change. Everything goes through a cycle. And if you look back on all the times in which you thought, man, I'm never going to find anyone better, or this is never going to get better, or, I'll never get through this. When you had those thoughts with yourself, when you were feeling alone, or you were feeling like this was it, you got through it. And if you really look, something better came of it. And that's what's happening. We're collectively going through a mass transformation. And there is a strong separation occurring. I'm watching it unfold. It's kind of creepy, to be honest with you. I was having a conversation with another friend of mine who does healing work, and her and I are in alignment. And like I said, I don't have that many people I'm already a private person. I have a lot of associates, a ton of associates actually, that I can engage with, talk, but my close circle that I can really connect with and vent to and share deep things with and personal things with, it's very, very small. And so we were talking about this, and even she was saying, I've had to cut off relationships that were significant because the energy doesn't feel good anymore. And that is what it is. And I just want to let you know, you're not going through this alone. We're all going through it together, and that's why we group together the way that we do. So that's really all I wanted to offer. And I know it's tough, but I also know that you're tough and you'll get through it. And we're going to see this through, one day at a time. Stay focused on your own path, your own journey. Let other people think whatever they want. If they want to think things about you and ugly things about you, that's okay. First of all, there is karmic debt when we energetically attack other people, and that's for us too, because I can get super annoyed with people and think, oh my gosh, how can that person think like that? How can they think like that? Why are they so mean? And then I think, well, Susan, your job is to focus on yourself and to be the brightest light you can possibly be. What's next for you? Pull it back in. What are you grateful for? Let other people do whatever it is that they do. They're just doing what they do. They've got their own path. Give them the dignity of their own path, and you stay on your path. And, if they come to you and they actually legitimately want help and love, I can give that if I feel up to it, but I don't have to. I can also set boundaries. I don't have to be everything to everyone. This is a time of cleansing and rejuvenating and getting very clear on where you stand with yourself, with the universe, with others, the decisions that you want to make best for yourself and for your family, and then to advocate and stand for those things that you really want to see happen. So let's go into a healing, and I'm just going to flood you with beautiful healing energy so you can uncross your arms and legs and focus on your breathing. okay, and so it is. I wish you a beautiful week. Thank you for listening, for showing up, for all your support. If you haven't left me a review on iTunes, I would so appreciate it. And you can subscribe to my mailing list over at blendedinsight.com on the front page where it says join my newsletter. That's all I have. Take care. Bye-bye.